Hello, a bit of a quick ad hoc recording. I don't normally publish on Wednesdays, but had something I needed to get off my chest. I am recording in my wonderful kitchen because Max is playing Roblox on a PC, and God help you if you try to get him off that. So if you hear any swearing from my autistic 13-year-old, that's what that is. Luke is also right above my head, so if you hear any swearing coming from that direction, same reason. Right, so obviously the reason for this little video is, of course, our old chum, Level Up Observer. I always said I didn't want it to be this channel to be solely about him, but at the moment that's just the way it's going. After my funny little video about the old death of Level Earth Observer's channel, I made a bit of a boo-boo, and I have apologised for this. Basically, I said something in the comment which I've since deleted, where I insinuated that Elio, or Adam, I think is his actual name, was on the top video, on the short reel on the top of his YouTube channel. There's footage that's taken within the cab of his crane, removing a circa 1.5 ton digger or something along those lines like that, but he's recording it on his mobile phone. Now I insinuated incorrectly that he may have been holding the mobile phone in his hand.
Now, what makes more sense to someone using logic here? Am I driving this crane on top of a cannonball that's doing 500,000 miles an hour, flying through space?
While he was recording it. This obviously is not the case. If you know anything about these cranes, you need two hands to do the operations he was doing. So, after a couple of conversation pieces between myself and him on my channel, I took the little comment down. It was just a couple of lines. I didn't actually explicitly insinuate that's what he was doing, but it could be read as that's what I intended. I've taken the piece down and I've apologised to him, which he has accepted. Fair enough. However, in the cold light of day, a few days later, having to think about it a couple of times. Now, my apology still stands. I was wrong to insinuate things I did. However, it was interesting to hear his terminology about the word slander. Now, the official description of slander is using dangerous or defamatory or incorrect statements or false statements to denigrate somebody's character. Now, if you know anything about Level Up Observer, that's his reason for living. That's his raison d'etre. That's his modus operandi. He's consistently slanderous to everybody. Simon Dan, Dave McKeegan, anybody who says contradictory things. The entire workforce at NASA, all 330,000 people, are all fakes, pantomime, charade artists or something along those lines. Which is slanderous, claiming that somebody is not what they say they are, and doing it to deceive or to bilk hundreds and thousands, millions of dollars out of the US economy. NASA especially, ESA, obviously over this side of the pond. That's slanderous. That is making false and defamatory statements against somebody's character. How do you think these people feel that their life's work, that they've been endeavouring to get to the upper echelons of their field? They get to work for NASA. How amazing is that? And then you've got some arrogant little tosspot who won't look at anything that's been placed before him, telling them that it's all a charade, it's all a space pantomime, it's all tosh. I'm going to get that put on a t-shirt. I swear I will. But anyway, so I just wanted to come and say a little bit about that because, yes, I said something wrong. I looked a little bit closer. I found contradicting information. I apologise to my original false statement. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. That is something that people like Level Earth Observer, Nansen Thompson, David Weiss, all these CC, God bless him, people who are still with us now, but no longer with us, thank you, Bob, they were never able to do. They could not do it. They could not bring themselves to accept, I was wrong. Because they can't lose face. And it's actually quite sad. My previous video about whether or not our flat earth was actually just stupid is becoming more and more obvious. I think I was on the right lines. That they have this preconceived notion about the world around them, and it's reinforced by bad information. YouTube, Facebook, personal blogs I've mentioned before. They surround themselves with like-minded people and get themselves stuck in confirmation bias bubbles of ignorance. Up to a point you have to feel sorry for them, but then they just go off half-cocked. Level Up Observer, David Weiss, that idiot, I think who am I think of? Nathan Oakley, There's two Nathans. One of them, I think, is the one who shouts in playgrounds in America, and Nathan Oakley is the guy who just, he has his little podcast thing he does where he just insults everybody. That's all he ever does, because that's all he can do. But anyway, so like I said, I didn't want to make this channel about Level Earth Observer, but that seems to be the way it's going. But I will, with the old RYP thing, I'm going to just say a couple of things, because he hasn't stopped. Obviously, the channel is obviously still going. It was all a bit of a laugh, and I was quite proud of the way the video turned out. Thank you very much for all the very kind words. I really do appreciate it. But a couple of things have happened since then. One of them, well, basically, it's all to do with the videos he's put out. One of them is an old argument about the construction of the lunar module, where he does not know what he's looking at.
And just this shot here looks like a kid's art project. Terrible. I could do better myself, blindfolded.
He's done another video basically saying that the lunar module was made out of construction paper. He knows nothing about the construction of the lunar module, the lander, the LEM. We know what it's built of. There's photographs. We know how it was constructed, how it works, how it's made. It was not put together with construction paper and tinfoil. Another video he's put out is the one where you've got the night and day website. We've covered this before. I think it was actually in one of my first or second videos. So using somebody's own footage or someone's own video to discredit what they were saying, and it was basically not understanding how far away from the Earth you have to be to see the same thing that the sun's light waves do. It's a very weird way of saying what I've just said. But basically, if you're close enough to a very round thing, and I don't actually have any here, wait now, and that's going to go out of focus, isn't it? No, it did, okay. So, apple. If you're this close, okay, you can't see either side of the apple. The further you pull away, the more you can see. Okay, that's just physics, science, you know, optics. So, if you are only however many hundreds of thousands of feet above the Earth you are, you're going to be too close to see the effect of parallel waves. Remember, for scale, the Earth is this big, the Sun is this big, and it's 93 million miles away. That's parallel lines virtually casting over the orb of the Earth, or the oblate spheroid of the Earth. So the light is going like that. It's not going from a focal point of the camera lens or the eye of the observer going out like that, because you're not going to see all of the Earth, all of the sides of the Earth that the Sun can, so to speak. I've gone over this before in my previous videos. I think I made it a two-parter. I don't know why I made it a two-parter. It seemed like a good idea at the time. So that's another one. It's an old one he did about a year, possibly had to be a year ago, if not more. The construction of the lunar module is childish. I mean, D-Marble tried to do the same thing, and they use the same pictures. The long and the short of it is, the paper looks crumpled because it has to be. If you shine light off a piece of foil, just a piece of foil into your eyes, it's going to look bright and sunny, and if you're doing it outside, you're going to blind yourself. If you crumple up that foil, then lay it out again, the light is scattered. Same thing with solar radiation. That's why thermal blanket, thermal paper, and the mylar foil is crumpled the way it is, because it's meant to be. It's actually done by hand, deliberately. But the final one is, God bless him, he's still trying to have a go at that 50-minute International Space Station video. Now, he's pointed out the cuts ad nauseum. He's pointed out the part where he doesn't understand what he's looking at. Dave McKeegan has commented on my previous video, where basically what's happened is you've got as the two sections of the ISS come together, there's a lip that comes down. That's where his fingers were, and the inside of that lip was slightly reflective. Created a little bit of an optical illusion. Looks like the end of his fingers went below. That was it. Didn't excuse playing the same clip over and over and over again until everybody was sick and tired of what you were trying to say. But he has had another go. So apart from the cuts, apart from this little thing he's trying to go at, he's ignored the other 49 minutes and 50 seconds once again. Right at the start of the video, there's a clip where the astronaut is in his little sleeping cab, and there's a bit of Velcro poking against the back of his head. That's it. It's just semi-transparent. And as he turned his head, instead of being, so imagine it's like that, slightly curved, and as he moved his head, he punched it that way. That's it. You had the piece of Velcro, it's only about that long and curved, coming towards the camera and then going into shadow. So you had It's not one. It's not the perfectly clear video I thought it was. It's not 1080. It's about 720, and certain elements, especially if you zoom in on them, Adam, are going to make things look a little bit blurry.
Let's zoom in for this silliness and see it all in its special effects meltdown glory here, as Simon Dan, the fantasists, get served up by the very thing they cited as proof. Look. Ridiculous. And again. And once more. Absolute tosh.
So as the astronaut moved his head, he moved the Velcro that way, went into shade, and faded into the background. That's it. It was still there. If you look close enough, you can obviously see it's still there. It's really quite worrying when a person who is a obviously quite highly skilled crane operator obviously cannot understand what he's looking at. That really is an area of concern. But anyway, so that was really what I wanted to come on with. Like I said, I don't normally publish on Wednesdays, but I think I'm out watching. That was the cougar. I think I'm out watching Mission Impossible tomorrow. Stop bleeping at me, thank you. I've got my arse on the buttons. So yeah, that's all I'm going to move now. That's all I really came on to say was thank you for your continuous support. I'm still trying to get the footage, the material out there as much as I can, as much as it'll let me. I'm going to stop leaning on these buttons now because that's getting annoying. My throat finally, after following doctor's orders, is starting to feel a bit better. So the rest I'm doing, the water I'm drinking, the Gaviscon Advance I'm swallowing, which really is minty wallpaper paste, which is absolutely delicious. It's helping my throat immensely. So fingers crossed, loads more stuff to come. I've really got to get away from the unintelligent, uneducated echo chamber that is Level Up Observer. As much of a gold mine of low-hanging fruit he really is, I think I've got to leave him for a while because it's bordering on obsession on my part. And the only thing I like to get obsessed about is Lego, as you know. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I've got to get on cooking my boys' dinners. Fingers crossed something out this weekend. Possibly something to do with an old video I found, or I was given a link to, of 21 proofs of a flat earth. This should be pretty bloody easy. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.